Our next storyteller is Janna Cawrse Esarey. I want to say that Janna is a sailor, a school bus driver. She wrote Motion of the Ocean about sailing across the Pacific on our honeymoon and surviving still married. Recently, her family attempted to sail through the Northwest Passage. They didn't succeed, but she's working on a new book to tell the tale. All right, take it away.
I'm setting my timer now, Debbie. Thank you. So this is so fun to hear all these different stories, big boats, small boats, racers, cruisers, and I'm more of the cruiser type of sailor. And this is a story about 6 sailors who are looking up, not at the stars to navigate and not at clouds, worried about the weather. And even though we're in Alaska, not at the northern lights, but looking up at a drone. We are sailing in the ice on this beautiful boat, Dogbark, and we are hoping and praying that a drone is going to get us through this fog to a safe harbor. So it all starts with my family, my husband, my 2 daughters, ages 9 and 12, and our 2 good friends who also happen to be very skilled sailors. And we decide that we are going to sail through the Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage is about 2,000 miles across the top of North America. We were going from Seattle around Alaska to Greenland and on to Europe, or at least that was the hope. The farthest we made it, you can see the little star on your screen, was there, which was just about almost to the border between Alaska and Canada. Our trip started like most cruising trips do, or at least in the Pacific Northwest. We were tromping ashore in rain. We were boat schooling in the cockpit. Ultimately, our school turned into collecting data for climatologists about the ice and the weather in the Arctic. So once we were in the Arctic, above the Arctic Circle, we started sailing through ice, which was pretty exciting. It took 2 people on watch. 1 person would be on the bow. So our kids were integral to our crew. We could not have done this trip without them. 1 person would be on the bow directing which way to go to avoid the ice, and someone else was at the helm, hand steering, no autopilot in the ice. So we found ourselves near the border between Alaska and Canada, and it was an unusual year. Even though this is the summer of 2018, it was one of the warmest years on record. I think it was the 4th or 5th warmest year on record. But unfortunately, the ice was set up in such a way that it was appearing to be impassable. And not just impossible, but impassable. And we were starting to worry that we were not going to make it through. And then we got a weather report that a big storm was coming. We made the very tough decision to circle back to a place we'd already been, which is a place called Cawrse Island. This is a picture of Cawrse Island. You can see our boat here. It was beautiful and sunny when we were there earlier. We moved on, moving east, trying to make our way through the passage. And when we circled back, we thought, oh, we're going to cozy up in that beautiful harbor. And when we got there, it was surrounded by ice. So not only was there ice, there was also fog. We could not see how to get through the ice. So we kept going down different leads. I was at the helm. You can see the fog in the background. I would go down a lead and, everyone was looking out, trying to find a way to go, but we'd ultimately have to turn around again and again and again. Finally, in a last-ditch effort, it was getting late in the day, and we decided to send the drone up. John Giat, one of our crew members, he was also our photographer. He took many of these gorgeous photos you see here. He sent the drone up in the air. There's Becca receiving it, and he found a way through the ice. And we squeezed through the ice. Dogbark has a very deep draft, so it was shallow, this nice little seam that he found for us. But we made it through, and we set the hook, and we breathed a sigh of relief. Then that night, all that ice that had surrounded the island started moving in to the anchorage to join us. And you can see some of us are on the bow. We've got a big long pole. We're pushing the ice away. We've already heard about another boat who's east coming west. They've gotten holed and sunk. So this is a very, very stressful situation. The ice is very unnerving. It's booming, it's cracking, it's scraping. And we get an email from the Canadian Coast Guard telling us that recreational vessels are advised to turn around and abandon the attempt. So we have a big boat meeting. There are cheers and hugs, and we decide to turn around. This is probably where most sane people, and maybe even some sailors who are not necessarily known for their sanity, would say that the voyage finally started looking up. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful story. It makes me, I haven't read your book, but it certainly makes me want to go out and grab it and pour through it.